Hey guys, YouTuber 100 here. Alright, and now here I am to make the retro Unforgiven review that I was talking about making in my last video. And for this retro Unforgiven review, this is going to be a review for Unforgiven 2006. So, so as I've said before, 2000 year in WWE. Like I've said that like several times before, how just like this was like when WWE like what got like really bad. Had 2006 and 2007 were just like a really bad years for the WWE. Of course this really was like a pretty bad time in the company. And a lot of the shows that were took place during this time, they really were not very good. But this really was actually a really good to great pay per view. yeah, I mean, this really was like a real shining star for 2006 pay per views. I already talked about like a one night stand like back in May. Like I was talking about how like that was a great pay per view. Really was like one of the true shining stars of 2006. This was another one. This really was like a really good to great pay per view, which really is saying a lot, given like I was just saying, like how bad the pay per views really were during this time, and just like how bad WWE really was at this time. But WWE really did actually put on a pretty great show, and this really was I would definitely say this is probably like one of the best Unforgiven pay per views of all time. It's probably like top three Unforgiven pay per views. Yeah, and I have like talked about like several Unforgiven pay per view shows before, and then there have been like some pretty good Unforgiven shows. But I would say that this probably like I don't know if I can really go so far to say it's the best Unforgiven show, but I would say that it is definitely probably top three Unforgiven pay per views of all time. So this really was just like a really good to great pay per view. Admittedly, it does start off kind of slow. Like at the first hour or so of the show, really is not really anything spectacular. But after the first hour, it is really like when the show does pick up and where it does get like really good to great. Like you did have some pretty enjoyable matches on the show. You did have like uh one like a pretty good match. You did have one match that really just really told like a great story and just like really just had a really great atmosphere to it. And you really did have like a pretty great main event as well. And even like the rest of the show, aside from like a couple of matches, was like a pretty solid show. So I really do find it hard to really not say that this was like a really good to great pay per view. So really just what I just don't know what else I can really say about it. So it really is just like a really solid show, and despite the fact that WWE really was like a really bad during this time, it really was like a true shining star of 2006. All right, so I just really don't know what else to really say. So I guess I'll just start talking about the show. All right. So the show opened up with the Intercontinental Championship on the line. It was Johnny Nitro defending against Jeff Hardy. And this was like a Jeff Hardy's first WWE pay per view. Since his like original departure from the company in 2003. So this was Jeff Hardy's first pay per view in like over 3 years. And overall, I think that this was overall a pretty good match. I mean, there was nothing like truly spectacular about this match. It's like later on, like these guys really would have better matches, but this was still overall like a pretty solid match. With like this just being like a few weeks into Jeff Hardy's WWE return, I think that he was probably like a little bit rusty here. He didn't really quite get like his he didn't really like get back into his groove yet. That kind of like took a little bit of time for him to really get back into his groove. So yeah, so I think that he was probably like a little bit rusty for this match, and I probably think that this match probably should have been a bit shorter than what it was. Like this match went on for like 17 minutes, yeah, and I really don't think Jeff Hardy was really like in his groove enough yet to really go on that long. Like if Jeff Hardy really did like settle like back into his groove, this probably could have been like a really good to great match. But yeah, for what we got, like it really is just like a pretty good match. Yeah, it was like a some solid back and forth action between Jeff Hardy and Johnny Nitro. Like yeah, it went back and forth. Like you had some like a nice spot to the match, and yeah, and it just kind of just like did like go back and forth. There really wasn't anything like truly like memorable about it, but yeah, it still was a pretty solid match. Like it went on back and forth. You had to, like some near falls, and yeah, and then yeah, then eventually Johnny Nitro ended up getting the win after Melina ended up hitting Jeff Hardy with her boot, and then that allowed Johnny Nitro to then be able to pin Jeff Hardy, and then and Johnny Nitro retained the Intercontinental title. So yeah, so like I said, like it was a pretty good way to open up the show. It wasn't great and nothing spectacular, but yeah, like I said, Jeff Hardy was still like settling into his groove, and yeah, and later on, like these guys would have like better matches. Like they had like a ladder match and a cage match and other matches, yeah, which really were better. Yeah, but still, overall, this was a solid match and a nice way to open up the show. I guess I would probably give this like a 3.25. Then next up, then we had Umaga versus Kane, and yeah, this really was not anything special at all. Like it really wasn't that good at all, to be honest. I mean, it really was just kind of just like an really average with just the two of them beating up each other. I mean, this really was just kind of like was how a lot of Umaga's matches in his like first year with the WWE really were. So yeah, so this really just like really was not anything special at all. It went on for like 7 minutes. It was just like the two guys just like beating each other up, and yeah, then they eventually like fought on the outside of the ring, and they both got counted out. So yeah, so this match ended in a double count out, and this feud would continue on. So yeah, so this really was not really anything special at all. I would give this like 2 stars. And then yeah, then after this, then we had the World Tag Team Championship on the line. It was the Spirit Squad defending against the Highlanders. Oh gosh, the freaking Spirit Squad. Oh gosh, I mean, I have never talked about the Spirit Squad before, and I'm glad I didn't. And gosh, I mean, oh, just talking about this, just freaking hate it. Just yeah, I freaking hated the Spirit Squad like so many other people did. Like these guys were just absolutely annoying, and yeah, this whole stuff was absolutely stupid and just this was one of the reasons WWE was so horrible at this time. The freaking Spirit Squad. Yeah. So yeah. So officially, like in this match, it was Mikey and Kenny being the two members from the Spirit Squad that were like actually competing, defending the titles here, while the other 3 members were just like at ringside for the match. Yeah. And the Highlanders really were not anything like special either. I mean, I guess they were like kind of funny, but yeah, just yeah, they weren't anything special at all. They were just kind of a team that just was around for like a year and they were just gone. Yeah, and this really was not anything special either. Like I really don't remember anything from this match. Like it was just kind of like the two teams fighting, and yeah, it really was just kind of like a very standard. And then yeah, then like as the referee was distracted, the other members of the Spirit Squad like got involved, and then they cheap shot the Highlanders, and then yeah, then that allowed the Spirit Squad to win and retain the titles. So yeah, freaking Spirit Squad. Oh yeah. So yeah. So I just really there's really not really anything to say about that match. Yeah, it really was just like not anything spectacular at all. So yeah. So I probably give that match like 2 stars as well. All right. So yeah. So yeah. So as I've said, like the first hour or so of the show, like the first 3 matches, yeah, the show does really like start off really kind of slow and not really anything spectacular. But yeah. But this is really where the show does pick up. Then up next, then we had a handicap Hell in a Cell match. It was DX, Triple H and Shawn Michaels versus Vince McMahon, Shane McMahon, and The Big Show. So yeah, so this was the very first ever handicap Hell in a Cell match. Yeah, 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 and I remember like for quite a while I really was not a fan of this match and really didn't think too fondly of it. Yeah, but watching it now, yeah, it is like better than I gave it credit for. Like this was actually like a pretty good match. Yeah, and it was kind of like a nice way to really like uh, uh, finish off this whole like Vince DX storyline. Yeah, of course, like this went on through basically like the entire summer with like Triple H and Shawn Michaels like reuniting DX after Vince was using the Spirit Squad to try to take them out. Then we had like the whole thing with like DX versus the Spirit Squad. Then like Vince was really just doing everything to really like tried to destroy DX. We had like the match at SummerSlam the month before with DX against Vince and Shane, which DX won. Then with like DX playing all these like mind games with Vince, Vince just like finally snapped and then like brought the Big Show into the equation, and then like it led to this match. And this really was like a. It's not really among the best Hell in a Cell matches, but yeah, it really was actually pretty good. Yeah. I only really have like one major gripe with this match, and that is like this was the match that really like did introduce like the new Hell in a Cell, which like they made it bigger from the original 16-foot Hell in a Cell to now like the new 30-foot structure or cell. And like with this being like a new Hell in a Cell, with it being bigger, like wouldn't you have thought that they would have actually like kind of taken advantage of the bigger cell and they would have like done a spot like showing it's bigger? Like, wouldn't you have thought they would have done stuff like actually going on top of the cell and fighting, and like even like have a spot where somebody is like falls off the cell or through the cell or something? Wouldn't you have thought that they would have done something like that? But they didn't. Like they just like kept this match like entirely inside of the cell. So it really does make me wonder why they even like made the Hell in a Cell bigger when they didn't even really make any use of the bigger cell. Like they didn't do any spots with it, like going on top of the cell or anything. So yeah, so I really do wonder why they even like even like use this like bigger Hell in a Cell when they really could have just used the regular, like the original one, since it was this match wasn't kept like entirely inside of the cell. Yeah, so that is something that I really did question. But yeah, this really was like a pretty good match. Like it really was like a pretty brutal match. Like early on, like both Shane and Vince got busted open. Like Shawn Michaels like threw Shane like right into the cell and got busted open. Then Triple H like ended up busting Vince open. Like he like used a screwdriver on Vince early on. And early on it really was just like DX like first like took Big Show out. Then they like were targeting Vince and Shane, beating them up. Then eventually Big Show recovered, and then Big Show then was like beating DX up. Like it really was just like Big Show fighting DX with Vince and Shane, really just like directing traffic basically. Then like both Triple H and Shawn Michaels got busted open for like Shawn Michaels got busted open when Big Show like uh, threw him into the cell. Then Triple H got busted open when Shane did a coast to coast with a trash can into Triple H and ended up busting him open. Then like it really was just like really brutal. Like yeah, it was like Triple H and Shawn Michaels beating up Vince and Shane. Then Big Show getting like in like fighting them as well. But then DX then like took him out. Then at one point like you had this like point where uh Triple H like stopped Vince and Big Show from actually like uh, uh making Shawn Michaels like shoving Shawn Michaels' face into Vince's ass. Then like as Triple H tried to go after Vince, then Shane got Triple H up into a backbreaker. Yeah, and yeah, then I think like Triple H then eventually countered it at one point. Yeah, and then yeah, then as a uh, DX were just like beating up like Vince, Shane, and Big Show more. Like eventually, then as Shane was in the ring, Triple H ended up like wrapping a chair around Shane's throat. Then Shawn Michaels delivered an elbow drop to Shane, like driving the chair right into Shane's throat, and then you just saw like the blood like coming out of Shane's mouth. Yeah. And yeah, then like they then took Big Show out as Big Show tried to use the steel steps. Then Triple H like just nailed the steel steps with the chair, driving them right back in Big Show's face. Then eventually Shawn Michaels then like hit a switch in music on Big Show, having Big Show just like dangling over the top rope. Yeah. Then with Vince standing off against DX, then like they ended up like shoving Vince's face right into Big Show's ass. Yeah. Then you had like a pretty brutal ending where Shawn Michaels delivered a sweet chin music to Vince. Yeah. Then Triple H then used a sledgehammer and nailed Vince right in the back of the head with the sledgehammer, and he hit Vince so hard that the head broke off of the sledgehammer. So it hit him pretty hard right there, knocking him out. Then Triple H then pinned Vince. And so DX ended up winning the match. So like I said, it's really not like among the best Hell in a Cell matches, but yeah, it is better than I originally did give it credit for. So it was a pretty good match. But yeah, like I said, my only real gripe was that they really didn't really take advantage of the bigger cell at all. They really just like kept it inside the ring, and it really was stuff that it really could have just done. Like they really could have just reused the original cell. So yeah, that's my only gripe with the match. But yeah, it was still overall like a pretty good match. So I would probably give that match I would give that probably 3.5 stars. And then after this, then we had the women's championship on the line with Lita defending against Trish Stratus. And of course, this was Trish's last match of her official career. Like this was the end of her original run in the company. So of course, like there was that like real drama to this match with it being the quote unquote last match of Trish's career. Of course, like that would not be the case, but yeah, this was the end of her original run with the company. Yeah. So yeah, so this match was like really interesting because this match in the ring like it really is not really that memorable at all. It really is just kind of standard, but really just like what makes this match just like really good is the fact that like the story, the drama, and the atmosphere to it. Because yeah, this event was of course in Trish's hometown of Toronto. So just the atmosphere from the crowd for Trish, it really was just like really great. Yeah, and plus, yeah, just the drama and the story with this, with of course like the rivalry with Trish and Lita over the years, and this being Trish's last match, it really just made it feel like so big, and just with it being Trish's last match, really just gave it so much drama. So those are factors really are what really does make this match really good. Like in the ring, like I said, like in the ring, the match really was just kind of average and not really memorable. But yeah, those factors really do make this just a really good match. Like, yeah, just like all the drama of Trish's last match, it really does like just yeah, this really just to show you like how a match can be really good despite like maybe like in the ring it's not really that memorable, but yeah, just like factors of just like storyline, drama, and atmosphere really do make a match. And that really was the case here. Yeah, just like how you had the crowd just like totally behind Trish and booing Lita and all this stuff. And the match really did just like go back and forth. It went on for about like 11 minutes. Yeah, like I said, the in-ring work really was not too memorable, but yeah, it just really did go back and forth. Then eventually uh, Lita ended up surviving a chick kick, and then as Trish tried to go for the Stratus faction, Lita like tried to counter it, but yeah, then as she tried to pin Trish with her by holding the rope. Yeah, the referee caught it, so Lita was forced to let go. Yeah, then Trish then like was able to counter it, but actually like had a roll up on Trish. He then like just changed it into a sharpshooter. So yeah, so Trish had Lita in a sharpshooter, which I found like kind of unusual because this was in Toronto. This wasn't in like Montreal or Calgary. So yeah, so yeah, so this really wasn't exactly like it was in Canada, but not like in places really where the sharpshooter really is like popular. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, so Trish then like had a Lita in the sharpshooter. Yeah, then eventually Lita tapped out. So yeah, so Trish ended up winning the women's championship. Yeah, and of course, like the post match segment with like Trish's celebration, with it being like her farewell, it really just like really was like a really great post match celebration. And just yeah, it really was just had so much drama to it. Like the ovation from the crowd, Lillian Garcia being so emotional and applauding Trish, even Jr. and King standing up and applauding Trish. Yeah, and you just had like a Trish just celebrating like on the turnbuckles, and yeah, you can really just kind of see the emotion in her face, and she takes that final bow. Yeah, so a really great moment to see like Trish like win her final match and winning the women's title like that. Yeah. Of course, like this really was not really a reign because yeah, this really was just like Trish's like like Trish won the title and retired. So yeah, so it really was not about any title reign or anything. It was just like the moment of her really like winning the title in her last match. So like I said, in the ring, not too memorable, but yeah, what really does make it really good is just the storyline, the drama, and the atmosphere from the crowd. Yeah. So I would give that match probably 3.5 stars. All right. Then next up, then was Randy Orton versus Carlito, and this was also pretty good. Yeah, this was just kind of like pretty much the cool down match to like kind of just like settle people down for the main event. Yeah, and it was like pretty short and sweet. Like, yeah, it was only about like 8 minutes, but it served its purpose. Like, yeah, it had some solid in ring work between both Randy Orton and Carlito. Yeah, it did go back and forth. Didn't really get too memorable until the end. Yeah, it toward the end, like did have like a couple of pretty nice spots. Like Randy Orton tried to go for the RKO, and then Carlito was able to counter it into the backstabber. Then as Carlito then like got onto the turnbuckle, Carlito then like tried to go for some sort of aerial move, but then Randy Orton was able to counter it into a midair RKO, and Randy Orton pinned Carlito and got the win. So yeah, so Randy Orton beat Carlito, and yeah, and it was it was a cool to see that midair RKO. So yeah, so not like a spectacular match or anything, but yeah, it was nice, short and sweet, and yeah, and it did like do its job. So yeah, so I would probably give that probably like a 3.25. Yeah, and then we got the main event, the WWE Championship on the line in a TLC match with Edge defending against John Cena. So so it all came down to this with Edge and John Cena. They had their feud throughout the year. Of course, like Edge cashing in Money in the Bank on John Cena at New Year's Revolution and winning the title from him. Then John Cena regaining the title from Edge at the Royal Rumble. Then later on, of course, Edge ended up costing John Cena the WWE title at ECW One Night Stand against RVD. Then Edge ended up winning the WWE title from RVD in a triple threat match also involving John Cena. And it continued on the feud between Edge and John Cena. Like they had the match at SummerSlam the month before, which Edge ended up winning by cheating. Then it all came down to this with like Edge wanting to get rid of John Cena, and John Cena said that if he lost this match, he would sign a 3-year deal with SmackDown. So this match, of course, like had huge stakes with it. If like John Cena's is a career on Raw being on the line as well with the WWE title. And this also, of course, was like when Edge did have the rated R superstar spinner or WWE Championship. So that was a cool looking belt and was nice to see. And yeah, that was the belt that Edge had for this match. And yeah, and this really was like a really good to great match right here. Yeah, I think this was probably like a Edge and John Cena's best match in their feud. Like, yeah, because yeah, like the Royal Rumble match was good, but yeah, not really anything in that like spectacular or anything. Yeah, and their match at SummerSlam was like pretty good, but yeah, this was like a really good to great match right here. Like yeah, like you just had like a lot of like weapon use in the match. Like Edge like really did make use of like all three weapons throughout the match, and yeah, there were like some nice spots with them. Like there was this one point where like John Cena was like leaning over the middle rope, and Edge just like flung a ladder right into John Cena's head, which was pretty cool. Yeah, yeah. There was this one point where like Edge was like supposed to do a sunset flip on John Cena through a table, but I'm not sure if it was botched or what. But yeah, it like he didn't connect with it. But then eventually Edge slammed John Cena through another table. Yeah, yeah. There was like some brutal chair shots to the head in this match. Yeah, yeah, and there were just like a whole bunch of usage of the tables, ladders, and chairs throughout the match. Yeah, yeah. Then there was like this spot where like John Cena had Edge like sandwiched in the ladder and like had Edge in the STFU. Yeah. And yeah, then like yeah, it'd go back and forth. There really were not like a lot of attempts to really like climb the ladder and retrieve the WWE Championship. Most of it really were just like John Cena and Edge like fighting and just like beating each other with the weapons. Yeah. And yeah, and it did like go back and forth or between like both guys. At one point, like Edge tried to like nail John Cena with a one man concerto, but John Cena was able to dodge it and get Edge to fall with the chair falling into his face. Yeah, yeah, and yeah, it really did just like go back and forth. Eventually, John Cena ended up pulling out a bigger ladder, and then yeah, then as a like a as Edge was then like on the outside of the ring, as John Cena was like climbing the ladder to uh, retrieve the title. Then Lita then ended up coming out, and then she ended up like tipping the ladder back and caused John Cena to fall off the ladder or through a table down to the floor. Then as she Lita tried to help Edge climb the ladder and get to the title. Like John Cena then recovered and got back into the ring. Then like Lita then ended up nailing John Cena in the back with a chair, but then yeah, it caused John Cena to just just like fall forward, and he ended up like running right into the ladder, and ended up like knocking Edge off the ladder, out of the ring, through a table down to the floor. Yeah. Then John Cena disposed of Lita, by giving her the FU. Yeah. Yeah. Then as John Cena then like ended tried to climb the ladder again, then Edge got back into the ring and climbed the other end of the ladder. And as John Cena and Edge were like fighting on top of the ladder, eventually John Cena then like got Edge up for the FU, and then FU'd Edge off of the ladder through two tables, like one on top of the other, and Edge fell through them. And I found it kind of funny, like how like during at FU, the referees were actually holding the ladder, which I thought was kind of funny. Yeah. But yeah, then when John Cena FU'd Edge through the tables, then John Cena then was able to retrieve the WWE Championship and got the win. So yeah, so John Cena won the WWE Championship. Yeah. So yeah. Yeah. So that overall was like a really good to great match and a nice way to and the John Cena and Edge feud. So yeah, so really good to great match right there. I would give that probably 4 stars. Yeah, so really good to great match right there. Yeah. So overall with the show, I guess I would probably give it a 7.75 out of 10. Yeah, it really was like a really good to great show. Like I said, like as I said, the first hour of the show really like was not really too spectacular, but yeah, after that, like, yeah, we really do have like a pretty awesome show. Like, yeah, the Hell in a Cell was really good, and like, yeah, Trish winning the title, like in her like farewell, was like a really nice moment, and just really had like a really great atmosphere. Yeah, and the TLC match really was like really good to great as well. So yeah, so I find it really hard to really say that this really was not a really good to great show because yeah, you really did have like a lot of really awesome stuff on it. So yeah, so yeah, like I said, I don't know if I really go so far to say that this is the best Unforgiven of all time, but yeah, I would definitely say that it is in the top 3 Unforgiven pay-per-views of all time. So yeah, so if you haven't seen this show before, I would recommend giving it a watch because yeah, it is really good. Even if you really just really hated WWE during this time because it was 2006 and it was just such a bad time for WWE, this really was like a shining star of the year. So yeah, so it definitely is worth checking out if you haven't seen it before. All right. So yeah, so I guess that's the best way I can put it. All right, so yeah, so I guess this is all I really have to say about this. All right, so yeah, so this is my review of Unforgiven 2006. So I hope you guys did enjoy this review. Yeah, and stay tuned because hopefully I'll have more coming and throughout the rest of September. All right, but yeah, but I hope you guys did enjoy this review. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.